Good afternoon, Kroc Nation. Welcome to another edition of Kroc Sports Talk. I'm your host, Daryl Wren, and I'm going to be joined by my hosts, Ms. Jackie Foster, Mr. Darius Jackson. I think this is week 8 of Kroc Sports Talk. We want to thank all of you for supporting us throughout this time. We pray that and hope that we continue to bring you a quality product. So we're going to get right into it because we have a lot of sports to discuss. And we're actually going to start out with college football players are now speaking out about the racism that apparently has been going on at various programs throughout the country. I know that James Daniels, the center of the Chicago Bears, who went to University of Iowa, he has spoken out along with a couple other former Iowa players about racism that they've experienced on campus. It appears that the racism that they're experiencing is kind of like a culture, and obviously it's been going on for years. But in light of everything that's going on around the country with the social unrest and everything, a lot of things are bubbling up to the forefront, and things are being exposed like they never have before. And when we're talking about racism on campus, is primarily, it appears that the running theme seems to be more along the lines of, white players being treated better or different than black players. And it sounds like it's from, even the way they're being coached or the way they're being talked to, just an overall culture that, players are now feel that they're emboldened to speak out about it. Jackie, what do you think about the college athletes that are now bringing up the racism that's obviously been going on in college sports for a while?
I think it's a much needed conversation, especially with there being so many black football players, and you got a lot of staffs that are predominantly white. So it's a very well needed conversation, and I was glad to hear that one of the Florida State players had called out their coach and
Right.
had said that before they return to playing that they want to have a team meeting. So I hope that they get something out of that.
All right. Darius, what about you? What do you think?
Like Jackie said, it's much needed, especially like players like Trevor Lawrence, being
Right.
one of the main players on his campus, actually putting together a protest to go along with what's going on right now, to show those players to have some type of awareness. It plays a big part in today's game with sports. Having those top players, those top-ranked players like a Trevor Lawrence, showing the support for his teammates, people he works with every day. I think that's something that needs to be shown.
Okay. Let me ask you both a question. I'm going to bounce back to you, Darius, and then I'm going to flip it to Jackie. Regarding some of these college coaches, football, obviously basketball, those are the two big money makers in college sports. Do you think it's, how can I put it? Do you think in many of the cases it's overt racism, or do you think a lot of it just has to do with ignorance and a culture that's been going on in college sports for a while, where college coaches in particular just need to be enlightened and awoke? I'm not saying that the racism may not exist, but I'm just wondering, do you think it's a case where coaches may not even know or understand of the type of culture they may have going on at their various programs? What do you think, Darius?
I mean, I can believe some do, some don't. It all depends on who's
like anything
enlightened
else
and
in
who's
life.
not. I mean, to be honest, I believe all of them should be enlightened, especially dealing with the type of players that they're going to be dealing with. Most of their players are African-American players who come from throughout the nation. They all come from different backgrounds. So I think with them being some type of involvement or some type of awareness is key.
Okay. Jackie, what about you?
Yeah, like Darius said, some of these coaches, I think that even the way that they talk to certain players, they're just doing it unconsciously. Some of them, I think some are like have intent on saying derogatory things, and a lot of this has happened in the sports world for a long time. And coaches, they become to thinking that it's okay to talk this way to certain people.
Right. And what it shows, obviously, also is that a lot of African-American players have been putting up with this for a long time and felt maybe they didn't have a voice. And now with everything that's going on in the country right now, they feel they finally do. So I think that's a good thing. So we're gonna keep our eye on that, Kroc Nation, and I'm sure we'll be speaking more about that as the weeks go on. Want to switch gears. U.S. Open tennis. As of right now, it appears that the U.S. Open is still on schedule to be held. However, you have the top three men tennis players in Roger Federer, Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and of course you got to throw in Serena Williams. I'm hearing Coco Gauff. You got a lot of the top players in tennis who have concerns about the coronavirus restrictions and what have you, and they're talking about not playing. Jackie, what do you think about that?
I think the U.S. Open needs to be canceled, and they just need to look forward to restarting at the top of the year with the Australian Open, like how I know the Australian Open is usually the first of the year tournament, but with there being so many international players, I understand that they have safety concerns with coming into the U.S., but there still being so many cases here. So I don't think that they should have the U.S. Open this year.
Okay, Darius, what about you?
Well, to me, it all depends on how much security or how much COVID awareness is around. If it's something to where all the players, anybody that's going to be involved, is going to be tested. If you have the right people that's in place to manage everything and make sure that players are and anybody that's being involved is being tested and it's on a daily term, then it's something that can be looked at. I mean, with sports around the world right now, some are opening up. I know we see in New Zealand, they have whole rugby games with crowds. So it all depends on where and how the testing is going to be given, or if it's possible to even test that many people. So, I mean, if they keep it going, they keep it going. I believe with everything that's going on as far as the restrictions and the different leagues that are open up, they can get a lot of information from different people.
Good, all right. I'm kind of more along the line with Jackie as far as because of the international factor. When you got players coming in from different countries and what have you, and their restrictions in those various countries may be way different than ours, good or bad. I just think that right now, it might just be best and safest to cancel it. I mean, Wimbledon's been canceled, the Australian Open, what have you, that Jackie spoke on. I just think that right now there's just too many unknowns. Now, obviously somebody's gonna have to go first, as far as, whether it's the NFL, NBA, we'll be talking about those a little later. Somebody's gonna have to go first, and I think once that happens, then we can really see, obviously there's gonna be some things that'll probably have to be modified or changed, but I think until somebody actually goes first, we're really not gonna know exactly how this is gonna shake out. So this is something that we're gonna, obviously, we're gonna look towards to see how things shake out with this. But as of right now, the U.S. Open is still on schedule. I will say this though, if you don't have a Nadal or Federer or Djokovic or Serena, you might as well cancel it. Back in the day when I was, going to the Bulls game, I was going to see Michael Jordan. I wasn't going to see Pete Myers. I mean, it is what it is. So, I think the players at the end of the day might have a say in that too. We'll see. I want to talk about this players coalition that has really gained steam. I think it pretty much started with the NFL with guys like Malcolm Jenkins, Anquan Bolden. Matter of fact, I believe Anquan Bolden even spoke to the Senate a couple of years ago regarding concerns that professional athletes have about the immunity granted, particularly to police, where it's, and they're supporting a bill by two representatives, Justin Amish from Michigan and Ayanna Presley from Massachusetts, to basically, they're trying to pass a bill to end that unilateral immunity that the police currently have when there have been misdeeds done regarding arrests and what have you. Darius, what do you think about that?
Showing that those type of figures are speaking up, it brings it brings light to the situation in general. All of the different leagues coming together, as well as I believe there is a coalition between the NBA players who are gearing people to vote. So these different coalitions that are coming about to actually speak up for the people that may not be able to speak up.
Right.
It's an awesome thing.
Right. Jackie, what about you?
Yeah, I agree completely because I don't understand how police have qualified immunity. How can somebody that their job is to protect, how come they aren't held accountable for their actions? And with them knowing that they have qualified immunity, that's why so many cases of police brutality occur. So I'm glad that these prominent athletic figures are speaking up and bringing light to the situation.
Okay. Yeah, from what I understand, there were like 1,400 signatures on a petition from current and former athletes from all various sports, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball. Guys like Tom Brady, Drew Brees, Alex Bregman, Malcolm Jenkins. I mean, it ran the spectrum of athletes, professional athletes who have a concern about this issue. And to piggyback on what Jackie said, it's kind of hard to crack down on any group when they know they have total immunity, which, I mean, basically, that's basically telling them they can do whatever they want. I know oftentimes in cases, grand jury cases involving police brutality, police win like 99.9% of the time. It's hard to get a grand jury to convict a police officer. So these athletes are basically speaking out, trying to get the message out that there needs to be some consequences. There needs to be some checks and balances as it relates to something like this. And I think that the one great thing about what's going on right now in our culture is people are finally waking up and seeing what's going on for themselves instead of just hearing about it or relying on second, third-hand information. They're seeing a lot of these things going on live. So this is going to be interesting. I hope that this bill gets passed and is successful. So that's something we obviously want to keep our eye on. Now, the big news late last week, certainly for me, regarding NASCAR. And let me preface what I'm about to say by saying, first of all, I am not a NASCAR fan or a racing fan for that matter. I know what I know. I know the few drivers that I know, and I know the same drivers most of you who don't follow the sport probably know. But Bubba Watson, the only African-American driver in NASCAR, was behind getting NASCAR to ban the Confederate flag from all NASCAR events moving forward, which honestly I never thought was gonna ever happen. But apparently it has. It's gotten some support of Richard Petty driving team and what have you. Darius, what do you think about that?
Disbanding or taking away the Confederate flag within NASCAR is something that's huge. It might as well always, it might as well look like looking away, taking away from the American flag. It'd be the same thing as far as for the crowd and the use of the Confederate flag. I mean, if you go to different races throughout the nation, throughout the year, throughout the summers, you'll see the Confederate flag without a doubt. I think that on top of all of the other monuments throughout the nation that are being taken down right now, like you said, it's showing that everybody's, how people are starting to be woken, what's going on.
Jackie, what about you?
Yeah, I'm glad that they banned those Confederate flags because they're offensive. And then with Bubba Watson being a black man, I'm glad that he spoke up about it. And of course, NASCAR is a predominantly white watch sport. So they're going to lose some fans because they disagree with it, but they're also going to gain some fans as well, I believe.
Very good point. Very good point. Yeah, I'm sure you're probably going to lose the true races, but you're going to gain a lot of fans, for people who now will feel more comfortable about not only watching NASCAR, but maybe even attending. And I think it was a very big step. I think it was a much needed step. So far, I only know of one driver who has called himself quitting because of this new move. But from what I understand, he was somebody most of them didn't even know. So obviously, he wasn't one of the top drivers in this. So, that may be one of those things where you add by subtracting. In any event, I think it's a good move. I think it's a good start. I'm sure there's other areas that might need to be addressed, but it's something that was needed. I know me personally, whenever I've gone somewhere and saw that flag, it just it made the hair on my arm stand up. It's just something I've never grown comfortable being around. I never will. And the more it gets abolished, I think the better. So right on NASCAR, good move, very good move. All right. The NFL is about to recognize Juneteenth as a holiday through the NFL. It is, of course, the day as us as African Americans, of us being emancipated from slavery. The NFL is finally recognizing that and acknowledging it. Jackie, what do you think about the move the NFL has made regarding this?
I think it's a step with so many players speaking out against the social injustice. I think the NFL is trying to make progress and acknowledging that there has been some civil unrest. So I definitely think it's a step in the right direction, but I think that more actions need to be taking place.
Okay, all right. Darius, what about you?
Definitely a positive. Hopefully more leagues start to do it, or more institutions start to make sure that data is known. It's positive growth. It's positive for different reasons, as we know is what the climate of what's going on today in the nation. So it's a positive step. Hopefully we can see more.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, I agree. It's a start, like Jackie said, like you both have said. Obviously, there's more to be done, but every journey starts with the first step. So, what I like about what's going on right now is it appears, at least, that all of the major sports leagues, whether it's the NFL, the NBA, Major League Baseball, even National Hockey League, they put together like a coalition regarding African American NHL hockey players. Leagues are starting to finally get it, and they're starting to make, even if they're small inroads, they're starting to make inroads and starting to realize that we need to correct the sins of the past, and there's no better time than the present to do so. So I also think it's a very good move, and I look forward to hopefully more future positive moves around all spectrum of sports. It appears the state of Florida are now the first state to allow NCAA players to actually profit from their likeness, I guess from their jerseys being sold with their names on them, numbers, what have you. Obviously, I would think other states will soon follow, but Florida's the first. Darius, what do you think about that?
I think it's a step towards the future as far as what college players will be receiving in different states. Like you said, I believe different states will tend to change their rule as well. Bringing in or having that or giving that component, most schools will be able to recruit more. If you can sell the fact that you'll be able to make money off of your likeness once you come to our school, that's more of a recruiting push for you.
Yeah. Good point.
Any college basketball player that may be a bigger name or maybe can make a name eventually for himself, maybe in his junior or senior year, if he's not a top recruit, that gives them the opportunity to do that as well. Like I said, it's moving towards the future as far as college players being paid more for what they do. As far as the balance of how they'll do that, that'll be great to see between the different sports and how much money will really be given out. But if players are getting paid for their likeness, that's a great step towards recruitment for different schools throughout Florida.
Mm-hmm. Jackie, what about you?
Yeah, to tie into what Darius was saying, I saw an article where the governor of Florida had talked about hopefully this will cause more recruits that are in state to actually stay in their state and play.
I would think so.
So it's definitely a move to gain more publicity, to gain more athletes to get to their programs. So I think it's definitely a good step. I believe that it'll go into effect next year, and then I think California and Colorado are also going to take place, but not until 2023. So Florida is they definitely set the tempo.
Right. No, absolutely. You bring up an excellent point. If I'm a top football or basketball recruit from the state of Florida, and now I know that if I'm successful in college, that I can profit from my name, my likeness, or what have you, I'm gonna probably think twice, heavily on staying in the state of Florida. until this is passed in other states at least. So it's a good move, certainly for the athletes. It's a smart move by the NCAA because they're not losing a dime. Really, all it is, it's just a bigger pie that's being sliced, where now the players can actually bite off of that pie, whereas before they couldn't. So I think it's a very good move, and I look forward to the other states adopting the same policy. Roger Goodell and the NFL have decided, I believe it's over a 10-year period, to donate $250 million towards causes and programs that benefit the African American community throughout the United States. That's supposed to start immediately. That's a lot of money, and as long as it's used right and it goes towards those areas and those programs that need it the most, I think this is a good thing. I've heard some rumbling. Of course, you're always going to have naysayers. Well, $250 million, they're a multi-billion-dollar, league. $250 million isn't that much money. $250 million is still $250 million to me. That's $250 million you didn't have before. To me, the key is it being utilized properly. And as long as that's the case, I think it's a good move. Darius, what about you?
I believe if we see them within different programs and different plans throughout the years, definitely going to be a great addition, as well as anybody else who's donated money. I believe Michael Jordan was another person who donated $100 million.
Yes. $100 million.
To over the same, 10 years.
I believe it was the same span over 10 years.
So those contributions alone, like you said, that's money that wasn't there before. So that money, hopefully, we will be able to see as far as us in the African American community will see the change within our community as far as what was actually done with that money. If it's being towards something great, can't wait to see what happens.
All right. Jackie, what about you?
Yeah, I definitely think that money is going to be great to bring awareness to more issues that are as far as social injustice. But I think the NFL, more than just donating money, they need to show action. You can throw money at a situation and still have the same and still not show change. So I just want to see them take action and more people speak up about the injustice, especially the NFL owners, because a lot of this is coming from Roger Goodell, but I don't think many NFL owners have spoken up about the issue.
Very true. Yeah, this is more coming from Roger Goodell.
Hopefully, it's not just a check.
Right.
Just throwing money at a problem, and just wishing it goes away. No, there needs to be action behind it, and I think that's all the more reason why the money needs to be utilized and put in the places where it truly belongs. So that's something we're definitely going to keep an eye on, and throw in Michael Jordan's $100 million as well. Same thing. As long as the money is utilized properly, but we still want to see boots on the ground. We want to see action. We want, and then hopefully we will see that change in our various communities, that much needed change that is necessary. So we're definitely going to keep our eyes on that. There's some rumblings by some NBA players. Kyrie Irving seems to be leading the charge here. I think Dwight Howard is also on this, whereas they are talking about, because of the civil unrest going on in the country, and it doesn't have as much to do with the coronavirus, they're talking about not playing. They don't think this is the time to be focused on restarting the season back up. Darius, what do you think about that?
So I've been a person that looked really into this as far as what Kyrie Irving has said and what he believes in, and then different other players responding as well to what he said. I'm gonna be honest. I believe it's something more than him just saying more social injustice. I think it's something maybe personal with him.
Possible.
Being a factor that
he's out for the season anyway.
He's out for the season. He won't be able to play. So you're not going to be able to play anyway. You're taking away from players who want to make money and maybe use his money to help social injustice, as well as, I believe, like I said, personal-wise, is they know he won't be able to go. I think it's like a report that he said he won't be able to go if they are able to go because of everything that is going on with COVID.
Okay.
If you're not going to be able to play, there's no reason for you to come. So I think that plays a component in that as well for him to maybe say, oh, well, maybe we're taking the light off social injustice. With the NBA, us knowing the NBA, they touch on every aspect as far as something that may be going on in the climate in the world of today. They usually is a league or our league that touches on that. So I believe them coming back, I believe they'll be touching on that as well. I mean, we'll see different things showing the support towards everything as far as social injustice, I believe, if they do come back.
Okay.
So giving the narrative of saying we're taking the minds off of what's really going on, and I don't believe that's the case. I believe it'll actually help more so than take away.
Okay.
How about you, Jackie? What you believe?
Yeah, I agree. I know Kyrie, as well as Lou Williams and even Steven Jackson, who had been friends with George Floyd, they all were saying that it would probably be a distraction for the NBA to come back. But maybe it'll be a well-needed distraction to take off so much tension. And even LeBron has said that even with him playing, it wouldn't take away from the fact of social injustice. And I think that at some point, somebody has to, like you said, Daryl, a team or one of the leagues is going to have to set the tempo.
Somebody's got to go first.
Somebody got to go first. So why not the NBA show that the actions that they're in place will move forward and progressing?
Yeah, when I first heard this, my first inclination was to say, okay, I get it. You know, you want to show solidarity for, all the, the social unrest going on around the country, and we want to focus on everything that's going on, and it deserves, our undivided attention. But then I believe it was Kyrie said something to the effect of, he took it a step further, and then that's when he lost me. He said, we shouldn't play anymore until we see change. Okay, we've been in this country over 400 years, and what little change we have seen has been just that little. So if you use that, if you go by that mentality, y'all won't be playing again for years.
For the next 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's going to take time for these changes to take effect. Like I stated earlier, every journey starts with the first step. So once I heard that, and Darius, I kind of agree with you. I'm wondering if there's another, reason that Kyrie may have for this. I don't know. I'm not going to try to speculate. But I say all that to say that your hearts are all in the right place. But you still have a job to do at the end of the day. You get paid millions of dollars to play professional basketball. And I think it's one of those things where you can chew gum and think at the same time. So I think it's important, like I've stated, somebody has to go first.
Right.
Why not the NBA? Let's just move forward and see what happens.
Right.
So, we'll stay tuned to this.
Right. And Daryl, I did see where Austin Rivers, he spoke up. He said the money that they would get as players, they could use that money in helping towards the causes. So,
Right.
He has to also understand there's 15 guys on the team, and all of them don't make $20 million.
Exactly.
Those
very
guys
good
are out
point.
of work as well. I don't know if they have, or if they do have stimulus package plans, the same thing as everybody else, and receiving unemployment, but those guys have to work as well. Those guys are looking to work as well. To piggyback off what Jackie said, Austin Rivers made a good point to where things can be done with that money. A person like Austin Rivers, we all know who his dad is.
Right.
He doesn't need the money.
No.
But for him to even speak up and say that brings a different light into it.
Right. I think, the Kyrie Irvings of the world need to understand that 85% of the players in the league don't make Kyrie LeBron money.
Correct.
I mean, don't get me wrong. They won't be applying for link cards no time soon. But what I'm saying is that many of these guys live paycheck to paycheck. Let's just keep it real, y'all. When you make more, you're usually going to spend more. That's just the way it is. That's life.
Some of those guys do live like that.
Yeah, you got guys that live like that. You're talking about young men in their early, mid-20s who've all of a sudden got millions of dollars in their pocket, whereas before most of them, you could easily say, were poor. So these cats is buying cars and cribs and clothes and jewelry.
Their bills a little bit different than our bills. Their bills a little bit bigger.
Yeah, their bills are different from yours and mine. So I understand what Kyrie and Dwight Howard are saying in theory, but in reality, this isn't the time to hold out until you see change. This is the time to try and make change. Like Jackie stated earlier, we want to see action, but we don't want to just throw money at the situation. We want to see action. But I think you're moving in the right direction, NBA. Just, but don't go too far one way or the other on this. So we'll see what happens. This is about 6 weeks before the NBA is supposed to restart. So a lot can happen within those 6 weeks. I'm still confident at the end of the day they're going to play. But, we will definitely be monitoring this situation. I want to switch to baseball. Okay, y'all. Anybody that's watched this show, or certainly anybody who knows me personally knows baseball's my first love. It's always been my first love. I love the game. I understand why people don't love the game because, it's archaic. Many of its rules, it's long, and it can be boring to those who didn't grow up in it or around it. So I get it. All that being said, it doesn't look like there's going to be a baseball season this year. The owners keep coming up with these cockamamie proposals to the players where they're offering them like 70 games at like 70% of their prorated salary, or you can play 60 games at 50% of your play. I mean, they're coming up with all these dumb scenarios, and the players keep telling them to kick rocks. And I don't blame the players at all in this. Darius, what do you think about this? As the day is going, it just looks like, I said earlier that somebody has to go first. It don't look like it's going to be baseball.
I'm going to be very honest. I'm very surprised with baseball and the non-plan that's going on right now. For the NBA to have a set date back to when they're coming back.
Right.
Granted, the NBA had already started, but baseball, March. In March, we still kind of didn't know what was going on. I think a plan should have been started from right then and there. And it just seems like they're not getting anywhere, and time's just moving. We're about to hit July. It's usually mid-season baseball right now, and we don't have any. We don't even have a clue of when we're going to have any. And like you said, the different plans of this and many games. Well, if you get this, if it's, I believe, a short amount of games, then it's going to be the same regular season. Same postseason, and if it's extra games or more than 50 games, it's going to be a less than postseason, which doesn't make sense either. I just hope that they come to some type of conclusion so we can come get some type of baseball.
Yeah, because right now
even
it's
if
not
we don't
looking
have
good.
fans within baseball, within the stadiums, which we probably won't have fans with a lot of stadiums, we have to see some type of baseball going on. To go through almost July and not have a clue, the season may be washed. You can't play baseball through past October or November. So,
Jackie, what do you think?
The MLB, they don't look very organized right now.
No.
They can't come to a common ground with the players. So I'm curious to see if at some point will baseball even happen, or will they just discontinue it for the rest of the year and just come back next year? Because it's too many. It seems to be too many issues among them.
mm-hmm.
Right. It basically just comes down, I'm just going to keep it real. The owners are being cheap. They don't want to pay these guys. The guys see it. They see these dumb scenarios. They keep throwing at them. And the players have told them from day one, because each scenario was dumber than the last one. So it's like, if we didn't take the previous one, what makes you think we're going to take this one? It's not going to happen. So unless it's a drastic sea change, I don't think we're going to see Major League Baseball this season. I hope we do. I love the game. And in its purest form, it's a wonderful sport. But until these owners back off of their demands, I don't blame the players one bit. So we'll see what happens.
The season does look like it's going to be in limbo.
Yeah, we're already in mid-June. So, it would take at least 4 to 6 weeks to try to put together some kind of a season. So now you're talking the end of July, early August. Who cares at that point? But there is one very, very good thing that happened out of all of this. One of Chicago's own got drafted in the first round by the Chicago Cubs. Ed Howard, the shortstop out of Mark Carmel, who was on the Jackie Robinson team that won a championship in 2014. He is now a member of the Chicago Cubs.
Nice.
I love seeing this, even though I'm a White Sox fan, so I'm going to have root for the Cubs a little bit. At least hopefully this kid comes up in the next few years. Jackie, what do you think about that?
I love it. I love that he stuck with it. You know, a lot of people that you see growing up playing a sport, sometimes they fall off and they
Very
don't
good point.
keep playing. So I'm glad that he stuck with it. I followed that Jackie Robinson team, and I
Yeah,
was
we all
happy
did.
yeah, I was happy to see how far they came. So to see him get drafted by the hometown, it's great.
Beautiful thing. Darius, what do you think?
Amazing thing to see. Congratulations to Mr. Howard and his family. Can't wait to see him on the field. It'll probably be a couple years before we actually do see him moved up to the major league game or to the show,
Yeah.
they like to call it. But it's a great move for the Cubs. Great job getting a hometown kid.
Absolutely.
Everybody's gonna be, that brings in more, even I would say even more African American fans towards maybe the Cub Nation.
Absolutely.
Coming from a South Sider, so
Yeah.
once again, congratulations to him and his family.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see what he does with the Cubs. Like you said, D, I might have to go to a couple of those Cubs games.
Yeah. I'll at least root for the Cubs when he's playing. That's for sure. All right, Kroc Sports Nation. Before we sign off today, we have next week's poll question, and we were just talking about this. Do you think Major League Baseball should even come back this year? That's the poll question that we hope that you all will answer and participate in for next week, and we'll give you the results. At this point, I'm going to say no, but we'll see what happens. Once again, we want to thank everyone for taking time out of their busy lives and spending this little time with us on Kroc Sports Talk. I want to thank my host, Ms. Jackie Foster, Mr. Darius Jackson, our production crew. I want to thank our majors, Major John and Johanna Pook, for giving us this opportunity and allowing us to use this vehicle. And most of all, we want to thank you all for listening and watching. And we hope to see you same bat time, same bat channel next week. And once again, please remember that all things can be done through Christ who loves us. Thank you very much once again, y'all, for watching us and supporting us. We'll see you next week. All right, take care.
See you later, Kroc.